John Mullinger with PG on the NAMM floor with my buddy David Coltai of Supro.
Hey, what's shaking, John?
Well, this whole place is shaking, and tell me about this sexy little shaking amp here.
So this is a modern incarnation of the Supro 1605R Reverb model. Now, we've updated this model for the 21st century, giving the user a gain control, independent treble and bass, a reverb control, and a master volume. Now this is a 5-watt amp with a 6V6 single-ended power section. There's a few extra unique features. On the back of the amp, underneath, we've provided 3 tube-driven direct outputs. You have a mix output with a variable level control that sends both the reverb and the dry signal to wherever you want it. That could be a direct recording situation or to a Marshall, or you can basically use this thing in that capacity like the Fender outboard reverb, where you don't have to use the internal speaker in this amp. You can just send the mix output somewhere else, and then you can control the master volume on the amp, which just controls the feed to the power amp internally to either monitor yourself or not. In addition to the mix output, this thing also has a dry output and a wet output. Now, if you take the dry output from this, it takes all the gain from the preamp and feeds that to another place while leaving only the reverb signal in the onboard speaker.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you take the wet output from here, you get tube-driven spring reverb going elsewhere, leaving only the dry signal in this amp. So there's a whole number of different applications you can use it. You can use it as a combo amp with gain and master volume. You can use it as a direct recording device that would then go into a cab sim, and that has variable level. And you can also use wet-only reverb or a dry-only feeds, using it almost like a distortion pedal.
Wow.
So this is an extremely versatile combo. The street price is $9.99. It's assembled in Port Jefferson by my team of young musicians who are building tube amps by the hundreds every month. And another thing I wanted to share with you guys that I think the PG crew will especially appreciate is that to create the speaker for this, we actually worked with Eminence and the University of Iowa. We took my very favorite #1 golden sample Jensen speaker from the 60s, and University of Iowa laser scanned it for us so that we could recreate a special cone to make this speaker that captures the sound of those vintage Jensens, but is a lot louder with a lot stouter bass response. This is quite a loud 5-watt amp, so I encourage you to go check out the Supro 1605R Reverb at your Supro dealer. These things start shipping August 15th. And along with the 1605R, we have one other model that's a reissue, bona fide reissue, of a Supro Classic.
Let's see that one. Here it is.
This is the Supro Super. While it looks a lot the same on the front, the top side reveals pure simplicity of tone. It has one knob, and that is just gain and more gain. Now, some of you, if you've ever built amps or modified amps, you'd be familiar with the idea that once you insert a tone stack, you actually drop a lot of signal. Most tone stacks and tube amps are passive because that sounds better, and when you shove that into the circuit, you start dropping a lot of signal, and you have to make up for it with additional gain stages. It adds noise, etc., etc. The Super goes back to Supro's roots. 1935, Supro started making one knob tube amps.
Wow.
This is one of the original American sounds. It's one of the original American rock and roll brands, and we've brought back to you one of the classic Supro amps, the Super.
And it's shockingly loud. I mean, for a tiny amp, right?
This amp not only is quite loud, but also offers you a wide range of sounds from its one knob, or you can use the knob on your guitar to control the texture from everything from nice and clean and spanky to a raging overdrive. So, without further ado, I'd like to present to you Mr. Matt Smith, my teacher, and much responsible for all the trouble I've gotten into over the years, as well as Teddy Kumpel, my other teacher, also largely responsible for a lot of the trouble I've been getting to in recent years. So, Matt Smith, Teddy Kumpel, the Supro 1605R Reverb and 1606 Super.